Hey, before you watch my video, why don't you give a quick look over at the channel of a friend of mine? His name's Ozlander. You'll find a link in the description below. Now, actually, watch my video first, then check him out. Yes, that would work better for both of us. Greetings, YouTube! This is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001. Been a little while since I made a custom, but hey, I have a job now. Okay, so this character is going to be Scar the Wolf. Every time I say his name, I want to say Claw, but that was a different character I made before. Right. Scar the Wolf's base is the Werehog figure, seeing as how that's the only official wolf character there is. And he has a sword down there. More on what the sword will be later. But let's start with the head, which is not the Werehog's. It's actually Tails's. Besides resculpting the cheek tufts and making the eyes look a little bit more stern, I adjusted the ears. I cut them off, made them shorter, and then reattached them at a different angle. The real hard part was the hair. It was a little bit difficult to tell from Speed's artwork, but I ultimately figured out that there were 16 hair points on the back of his head. 5 on each side, and then 6 in the middle arranged in 2 V's. It's actually a pretty complicated hairstyle, but I think it does look pretty nice. When the head's painted up, you gave him the iconic scar, and that is when this figure reveals to me that he's almost entirely white. I don't like painting figures white. Figures don't like to be painted white. It needs multiple coats to show through, and by then the paint starts to look a little bit thick, and it doesn't work well in joints. I mean, this guy's left elbow just refused to be painted. I even used the Testor's paints, which is supposed to be immune to chipping, but the Werehog is just way too tight for that. If anybody else asks me to paint a figure white, I'm going to go to their house and paint them white. Okay, enough of my anti-white ranting. You know the drill with the tail. This is exactly like when I made Tails the Werehog, except that that's a single tail instead of a double tail. You know, just drill a hole in the back of the Werehog's butt, stick Tails' peg in there. It works. Still posable. The shoes are Werehog shoes with the points cut off the middle stripe. And I actually used one of the points to make that little gem that's on the front of his sock cuff. You can barely see it, but it works. They're black and gray, which breaks up the white. And they have some kind of weird cross pattern on the front of the sock. At least that's the best as I could interpret from his artwork. Let's take a look at the completed figure. So there we go. You know, the arms are always a little big on these Werehog-based figures, but he looks pretty cool. And he looks really strong, too, with those giant arms. You may notice in his left hand there is a hole there. What's up with that? Well, that is where he gets his big old sword. Yes, as you recall that red thing that was in the first picture, Scar has a sword. I modded it by making a spine, or whatever you will call that big techie thing on the back of the sword, make it into a big old techno broadsword thing, all painted up, and when he holds it, he looks pretty cool. So Speed also sent his original figures that I made for him, Speed and Drix, back for minor touch-ups, in addition to giving Speed a nice katana. So here's a group shot of all the figures that he had me made. By force of coincidence, I happen to have them all now. So they'll all be going back to him pretty much as soon as this video is over. Or, you know, whenever he pays, because you gotta pay. You'll all pay. This has been Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001, signing off.